all yours.
Hey guys, so we developed FluffKingdom. I'm Matt.
I'm Holly.
I'm Rick.
I'm Alex. Alright, what we did was we made a single player RTS game. As you can tell, it's about fluffy things. Teddy bears versus fluffy bunnies. The basic premise of the game is that the two species or whatever they are were living in harmony, but then a very racist rabbit took over the kingdom and expelled all the teddy bears, and the teddies are trying to get back to the center of the kingdom and restore peace. A big focus of the game is resource management. We have things like wood, stone, berries, and fish. The fish is cool. I really like that. You guys can look into that. And then, like, obviously some like military stuff. Like we have a barracks. There's a polar bear. There's actually different types of bears for different tasks. Polar bears, because they're the biggest and fiercest of bears, are the warrior bears. And then cute little like woman bears are gathering fruit, because obviously we're kind of sexist in this game. And our target audience is anybody who loves these things, like teddy bears and fuzzy things, and total world conquest. Since this is kind of like a demo thing, one thing that we were thinking of was having one mode, like cute fuzzy mode, and just total gore fest for the other, which would be pretty easy to implement. All you just have the blood animations to appeal to multiple audiences. What I noticed when we were demoing is that, like, for the most part, dudes were kind of like, okay, that's kind of whatever. Chicks were all over this. It was weird.
Okay, and for the gameplay, so what the player does during the game is that he has direct control over placing buildings on the ground and over the polar bears, which are the bears that attack enemy bunnies. And so the way it works is that the player just clicks anywhere on the screen and it comes up with a build menu, which is like listing of all the buildings. And assuming the player has enough of the correct resource, either lumber or stone, they can place down a building. When a building is placed, a unit pops up for the correct role, whether it be a lumber gathering bear for a lumber mill or a stone gathering bear for a quarry. Yep. Finish it.
So for AI, we had a couple of AI concepts implemented in the game. First is pathfinding, obviously. We had A-star for the bears and the enemy units. So they would pretty much take the diagonal path or the shortest route to whichever, whether it was gathering resources or finding the enemy. And they would obviously avoid the obstacles. There's also automatic gathering. So the user doesn't actually control where the bears go to gather resources. It automatically calculates whatever the nearest node is for whatever resource they're supposed to collect from, so the user doesn't have to worry about that. And then we have AI-controlled semi-random events. We have triggers, so the enemies, last level we have like a boss fight, and that's kind of a gauntlet type of fight. You have 10 minutes or so to gather enough resources, gather enough troops, and then after that you have the boss will respawn an enemy every 1 minute. So the goal is to defeat the boss before you spawn enough enemies that pretty much kills your forces. And so you have to plan ahead on how and what buildings to build so that you can maximize, who you want in your forces. And then we developed it in GameMaker for the Android mobile phone. Originally we were going to try Corona, and that is mainly Lua scripting, but we were having troubles with the grid type deal. So GameMaker made that a little bit easier. A lot of what we did was graphics and a lot of scripting and coding for the AI. And Android part, GameMaker has a way to compile the game file into an APK, but you have to pay for the licensing fee. So we just went ahead and developed a GameMaker. If it was a popular game, then we would buy the license because it's only like $30. So it's not that expensive at all.
Any questions before we go into the demo?
Ready to get fluffy?
So Alex was lucky enough to get one of his kind friends to develop music and stuff for our game. So it's sort of gentle, but also kind of creepy. So we have the main menu. You'll see that there's a load feature that actually works. We have our about page. All the pages kind of have, buttons to be able to get in between each one. I loaded one earlier, so like this is the play screen, and when you initially start, you would only have access to this level. But I opened this level up earlier and was able to save it, so now it is an option to be able to go to. So back to start at the beginning for you. Alright, so like I said, you got the load screen. This is the initial level, which is kind of like the tutorial level, so that you can kind of get familiar with how it works and not have to worry about really, running out of resources or anything like that right at the beginning. We have it set up so that the first base that is built with a lumber mill, so you can kind of already have the resources that you need started off without having to really, completely screw yourself over in the first level. So we have developed a fairly intense storyline, and there's most of it at the beginning. There's a little bit of screens in between the levels that kind of give you developing a storyline as the game progresses. But so I'll just kind of.
The intent was, like, later on to actually make it kind of like a flash video with like moving images. So like that's why there's a lot of text. It's almost more like a script than what's actually going on. I kind of wanted a British friend to read the script, which would have been amazing. Click through it.
Yeah, it's kind of long. Like I said. Alright, and so this is the first level. We also have this fog of war system set up so that you can't really see exactly where the enemies are on the later levels. Yeah, let's go over there. So as you can see, it already starts off with a couple of characters already gathering stuff. We've got the black bear gathering the trees. He's got the little lumber mill here. And then this is the little masonry bear. He's getting the stone. So put down. Let's go with a cat. Yay, one level. So this goes into the next level. Got another little intro kind of thing. And as you can see, the kind of objectives change throughout the game. So let's start off with this fishing hut here. As you can see, our water is animated. Makes it look cool. How do I fix that? Okay, well, we were having some problems with making it so that the water was actually accessible because the border for the tiles were a little big. I guess so the next level, as you can see, this one is more focused on actually killing the enemies. You start off with some resources, but it's definitely not enough. So be smart to put down a lumber mill, get some more wood. And as you can see, the maps are fairly large. Because the maps are so big, we kind of made it so that you could put down buildings and stuff outside of the open fog of war. But the problem with that is that you might happen to place it down next to an enemy, so then your building gets destroyed really quick. So it's better to place a barracks a little closer to where you can actually see, and then use your polar bear to go explore. But for the sake of speed, we'll place it over here. As you can see, as soon as we spawned, the AI enemies automatically started attacking. So you can control your bear and attack him back. He gets happy when he kills the enemy, so he celebrates. Yeah, I want to go. So, just kind of take you to main level. So this is the kind of end level. See, the map's a little bit more intense. So a lot more stuff pre-built for when you start. Kind of see again, there isn't really anything over here. But place a barracks now. Yeah, for some reason, when we gave the enemies like paths to follow, they would spin around instead of actually just walking. We couldn't really figure out why that was happening. Sorry, my touchpad doesn't work very well. There we go. Yeah. As you can see, we've taken a really long time, so another enemy has spawned back here. Oh, no, there's another one.
Yeah, I just think that the more AI we try to implement, the more wonky the game got. So there's a lot of bugs with the packs.
Yeah, although Game Maker was free, it was free for a reason.
Adorable.
Yeah.
So is Lord Snuggles the racist rabbit?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like the king of the rabbits. There we go. He's got a lot of health too, so.
Does Lord Snuggles attack you or does he just stand there?
No,
Spawn.
he's a wimp. He just brings in his other guards to do his dirty work.
Trying to distract you with this spinning top.
Yeah. He's almost dead, don't worry.
It's taking them.
There we go. That's towards the end of the game. Skipped a couple levels, and then when you're at the end, you have an option to be able to quit, or takes you back to the main menu, and you can kind of see the credits and stuff. So pretty much it. Any questions? Yeah, it's the last day of class. I wouldn't want to ask questions either. Yeah.
What types of AI did you try for this?
I mean, everything that we kind of strived for was implemented, except for the ability to have the polar bears automatically go towards the enemy. For some reason, that just wouldn't work, even though it said that it was working. I did extensive testing with it, and it would spot the enemy, but then it just wouldn't move towards it. So yeah, that's another problem with Game Maker. Part of that was because of having the way that the Game Maker works, being able to actually do a sort of version control, is you have to export your objects and files and sprites and all that stuff, and then the other person has to import them. And sometimes it would kind of overwrite things if you weren't really careful, and so it's just kind of, sometimes that would happen, and then you would replace the object with the proper object, and it like wouldn't remove the old object, and it just like there was no way to be able to get it to actually look at the one that you wanted it to, even though it was saying that it was. So. Other questions?